cameras.
I know, I don't know which one. Are we looking at that one? This one? It's so much action.
Ladies and gentlemen, surprise! For those watching on YouTube, Jerry's in New York, guys.
I'm here. It's lovely. I'll be doing some pre- and post-game work, and it worked out perfect to come in here and record. This is right after we just finished a series with the Phillies, and right before the Braves, which is normally I would be on one camera in my office at home, and instead I'm on 45 sitting next to these two beautiful jacks in my life.
Yeah, Jerry's in the stew. He's got some SNY stuff. We're happy to have him here for your latest episode of Shea Station, where we get to talk about a very special series win. A lot of hot topics in this one, a lot of fun ones for those that
Hot in the
follow
streets.
us on Twitter. It was a crazy weekend, a lot of chitter-chatter. But the Mets win another series. They've won 7 series out of 7. It's the first time in franchise history that they've done that. So we're talking about like all-time Mets teams now.
Yeah, I mean,
territory.
I think the rest of the baseball world is in on the Mets now.
Yeah,
because it does feel different. We've been talking about it for a while, and we've been a little bit hesitant to anoint this team a different feel because it's so early. Like 40 games, we talked about 40 games is like the quarter mark pretty much, and so that's when you can start thinking about things historically. But there's a lot of things that have happened this early season that feel different for the Mets. It feels like this team is headed in a proper direction. It has a different feel. It feels like a winner.
Yeah, I like the 40 game benchmark you brought because there's a lot of like stats fluctuate, a lot of guys get off to hot starts. I think 40 games is where you kind of feel things settling in. We're at 23 right now, and we faced a Phillies team that swept the Rockies in 4 games. They put up more than 5 runs in all of those games. I think it was something like close to 30 runs in that 4-game set. And we came in and we no-hit them in the first game. A huge game for the Mets. Tyler McGill started game 1 here. Had another great start. He had already faced this Phillies lineup, and we talk a lot about how if you face the same guys again in close proximity to that original start, things can get a little hairy. Instead, he turns up 5 no-hit innings. He walks 3, 5 strikeouts on 93 pitches. He's now up to 10 2/3 scoreless innings versus Philly this year. And this Phillies lineup, if you go top to bottom and you look at those OPSs and those batting averages, that's a pretty damn good lineup there. That's already taken shape. What else we got here? McNeil broke the ice with a 2-run single in the 5th. Pete Alonso broke a 40 at-bat home run drought with his 4th of the year. That was kind of shocking.
How long it's been? Yeah, it was a little shocking, but he crushed that. He's been swinging the bat pretty well. He had a little bit of a lull. Yeah. But this is what you get when you have a home run hitter. You get those streaks.
And this was the only home run of the entire series, too, which I found pretty interesting.
From the Mets side.
Yeah, from the Mets side. Not from the Phillies side. That's what they do. We talked a lot about the Mets bullpen kind of struggling early in the year. They have really settled into a groove, and it was on high display in this game. Our guy, Drew Smith, first ever friend of the pod, threw a 29-pitch hitless inning. Came back out
after a long layoff too. That was a long,
I think
long
they put
home
up like
half.
3 runs in that inning or something.
Yep.
Came back out, got JT Realmuto on a strikeout, kind of paved the way for Joely Rodriguez to have a clean inning. That set things up for Seth Lugo. He took over in the 8th, got a nice pop out to end that frame, and then Edwin Diaz came in, and I think personally that was the best inning of Edwin Diaz we've seen in a Mets uniform.
I think so. We can get into it a little bit later because we can do it now. This is the Mets' second no-hitter in franchise history, and the only pitcher that knew about it and felt it in that moment was Edwin Diaz. Yeah. He understood the ramifications of what he was doing out there, and in that high-pressure situation, he was elite. Yeah. He was absolutely filthy, threw sliders that were nasty, painting his fastball. It was a wonderful outing, and with the weight of a franchise's possibility of a second no-hitter on his shoulders as a reliever, which is brand new, but he's used to it in the 9th, feeling the weight of a win, came through. He looked great.
There were many ways that could have gone. We've seen a lot of Edwin Diaz blunders in the past, a lot of tough losses with him on the mound, and I think that was a turning point for Edwin Diaz with his career with the Mets. Personally, just because that was a moment that could have been blown up in so many different ways. He's facing 2, 3, 4 in the lineup, I think. He gets Castellanos and Realmuto and Harper, and he looked unhittable. He looked like a top 5 relief pitcher in the game in that moment.
I think his turnaround happened before this. I don't think that was a significant moment. I think if he gives up a hit there, or even if he blows that save, I don't think it changes the course of things because I feel like he's already locked in as because we've seen it early in this season where he's been making adjustments on that slider. He's been elite. He's been absolutely dominant, and I don't think one hiccup in a season is going to change that for him, even though it was significant in the for the franchise. I don't think that would have derailed him, but luckily we don't have to talk about it that way because he's still locked in.
I think of it as like maybe the climax of everything. I think a culmination point in Edwin Diaz.
I mean, I like that you feel that way, and you can, and it was a thing, but I just don't feel the impact or significance of it, especially this early in the season for a reliever. We're looking for the end of the season kind of run, but for me, this was just like a continuation of a fantastic season for Edwin Diaz.
Should we talk about the Cano hitter?
Let's save it for after. Let's go. We'll move on to game 2. So we're here in game 2. This is the middle game. This was a tough one. This was the return of Taijuan Walker to the rotation. This was the anticipated return. He looked awesome in his first outing. He had 2 dominant innings. That splitty was spectacular. And then David Peterson filled in admirably for him. Looked really good. So there was some pressure on Taijuan because they brought him back quick. He hasn't gone more than two innings yet. He ended up going 5, gave up no runs, 2 walks, only 1 strikeout through 73 pitches, 5 shutout innings coming off the DL or IL. He looked fantastic. So I was excited to see him, and he looked sharp. That was the biggest thing. It's like, man, they moved Peterson down. Is he going to fill in admirably? Right. He looked good. He looked back. So Taijuan was back. The Mets get on the board first against Kyle Gibson. He had a throwing error, and they cashed in on an unearned run. That was nice. And then Trevor May comes in, lets up a leadoff double, but escapes the jam thanks to a heads-up play by Lindor doing his magic at shortstop. And then the Phillies breakthrough against Ottavino came in, looked shaky. Kyle Schwarber, after shutting him down the entire first series, kind of broke out again. He had a huge 2-run home run, and then Odubel Herrera had an RBI double for 3 runs, a 3-run 7th off Ottavino. Sean Reed Foley came in, gave up a home run, had one of the scariest moments when you're a pitcher out there. You saw him injure himself as a player, as a former player that's held that baseball. The thought process that goes in, the feeling of vulnerability on that mound, not knowing what to do because you know something's wrong. You call the trainer out. Do you just walk off the field? You just feel for him, and it was very emotional for me, for a lot of people out there watching that go down. Luckily, it's only a partial tear of his UCL, but he had a rough outing, and then on top of that, injury. Chase and Shreve looked amazing coming in, 1 1/3 perfect innings with 3 punch-outs. The guy's been incredible. What a find. What a return to the Mets uniform. He had an amazing 2020. He looks great. But the Mets offense with runners in scoring position, which they've been doing wonderfully, only go 1 for 8 in game 2, leaving 13 men on base in a quiet loss. They had just 4 hits, had 8 walks, couldn't capitalize. Those are the big. They had opportunities to score because they had 8 walks. Just couldn't punch it in. The Mets lose 4-1 in game 2.
Yeah, you're gonna have games like this, and we discussed that a lot. I will say, Chase and Shreve has been incredible this season. What a find on a minor league deal, by the way. And the way that I saw Sean Reed Foley with that injury, it was very similar to the way I felt when we saw Trevor May in Philadelphia with his arm tightening on him and something popping possibly. I thought the worst of that. Thankfully, he's okay as well. But that's just something that when you see it, it instantly grabs your attention. And like you said, you feel for the guy because even if you're struggling, you don't want that to be the end result. You don't want that to be the reason for someone struggling in the first place. But
you saw him. Like what I saw him hurt himself, and then him try to throw another pitch and just couldn't get to it because of the pain, because he knew what was going on. You feel these things throughout your career, probably a little bit, and you're like, man, what was that? And then you throw the next pitch and it goes away, and you're just a big sigh of relief. But unfortunately for him, he tried to will himself through it, and it just, he just couldn't do it. Winced off. That's a tough one. Just a tough loss. Got beat by a team. This happens. It's a 162-game season. Runners in scoring position was tough.
That was a tough one. We're going to walk a lot as a team. We already knew that, and we got 8 walks on the night. We walked a lot against Gibby, had some really good at-bats there. But he had his stuff, didn't let up a lot of hits either. The only run we got was unearned. How about this for Chase and Shreve, though? I'm just looking at his baseball reference now because we're talking about him. 9 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 hits, 14 strikeouts.
Yeah, lefties and righties. That splitty is nasty.
He's real good. So I'm feeling good about this Mets bullpen again. I'm down to say it now.
That's good. Yeah, I mean they're solid. They're going to have to shrink down a little bit. With the roster cut coming up, but that seems like Yohan Lopez will be the guy to go. But they have depth. And they have Edwin Diaz, which always helps.
They have Edwin Diaz. Seth Lugo looks like he's feeling confident again, which is good.
Yeah, I think he's building forward. Drew Smith is the guy. He's a guy and the guy. Yeah. I think he's going to be the 8th inning guy right behind.
I hope so. I
think so. And he might actually come in earlier and throw the 6th, throw the 7th, something in a tight, middle of their order kind of guy.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Move on to the rubber match.
Yeah.
The actual rubber match.
All right. I messed it up on Twitter, guys. My bad. Rubber match is when you split the first 2 games, and then game 3 is the deciding game. I'm learning. We all are. Day to day. McNeil climbed from 8th in the lineup to 6th in the lineup to finally 3rd in the batting order in this final game. So it feels like we're finally starting to recognize that Jeff McNeil is back, and he needs to be higher up in this lineup, which I'm very happy about. Max Scherzer got the Sunday Night Baseball game. Honestly, looked really good, just had some balls go over the fence, which is kind of Max Scherzer in a nutshell. Like, he's going to give up home runs. That's sort of his weakness there, and I think the Phillies got to him a couple times here. He gave up 3 homers in the start, 6 innings, 4 earned runs, still struck out 9 batters. Another thing I didn't notice before that I put in the notes, Tomas Nido has caught every single Max Scherzer start. I'm sure there's a purpose there. Even though James McCann has looked pretty good, he called the no-hitter. Found that pretty interesting. Dom Smith, the day before cut day, goes 4 for 4. With a double, 3 RBIs and a run. He tied the game with an RBI double, broke it open with a 2-run single. He was integral to this Mets win. Got to start. I mean, we're going to talk. We're going to talk about cuts. That'll come a little bit later. Alonso had a nice 2-run single. He went oppo on that one. Marte and McNeil punched RBIs against the Phillies bullpen. It was just an all-around great team performance after not really getting the job done with runners in scoring position yesterday. McNeil went 4 for 5 in that 3-hole. 2 runs and an RBI. Mets lineup went 15 for 39 and 6 for 16 with runners in scoring position. Every Mets starter recorded a hit besides Nino. And then the bullpen wrapped things up at the end. Yohan Lopez also hit another batter, so I guess we should talk about that a little bit as well. Sure, it was just a control thing, but, we'll talk about it. Gave up the home run at the end, but shut the door on a 10-6 win and a series win again for the Mets against the Phillies.
A big win. This was the first one that felt like, it was the first real rubber match against a division rival. This was a very losable game because you had Max Scherzer not at his best, give up those 3 home runs. And this was a team in the Phillies that wanted to prove a point.
Yeah.
And so this was the first breath of fresh air win to win that series. Felt like the first real challenge of our young season. 7 straight series wins. That's phenomenal. And this one was capped off with a decisive victory in a position where they could have lost. It was a tough matchup, and the Phillies were trying to prove something offensively. Defensively, not great.
No.
Yeah, there was a ball in left. We didn't get the Gary Cohen, Ron Darling coverage. We had David Cohn, who's phenomenal, Jomboy.
Friend of the company.
Yeah, company man. I enjoyed their broadcast. I think Eduardo Perez was the one that said that ball was like a 70% catch. Schwarber.
Yeah.
I'd say 85, 90 probably if you're the pitcher, and he didn't even get to it. No. And then he had to chase it down. That was a tough one, but that's what they did.
We saw Gene Segura botch a grounder in game 1. We saw the pop-up from Lindor drop. The Phillies defense did make some nice plays in the series. I think Alec Boehm, honestly, kind of looked pretty okay.
Yeah, it feels like he's shaking off the thing, the
which
yips.
Is good.
Which is good, yeah, definitely.
But, I mean, it's always a tough night when your best pitching staff in the league gives up 6 runs, but the Mets responded in kind, put up 10, gave some leeway to the bullpen, which was nice. Didn't have to use any of our key guys at the end here, which was good. Yohan Lopez got another look as well, and it was just an all-around great series. I honestly think that Game 3 was really important because what a momentum swing if you no-hit somebody in the first game and then still go on to lose the series. I feel like that would have affected the Mets going into this Atlanta series.
Again, that's one of the things that feel different. The Mets didn't let that letdown affect them. That's like the World Series hangover that people talk about. Yeah, there's a hangover during a season because you have this huge release of endorphins on a no-hitter. Guys were really excited. Then you go to the ballpark and get your butts kicked the next day.
Yeah.
And now you're like, oh, all right, what do we do? But these guys bounce back. They picked up Scherzer, which is awesome to see. It's not always about dominant pitching. Sometimes you're going to have he didn't even pitch that bad, but sometimes you're going to have a rough outing, a lame duck. And then if your offense picks you up, that's beautiful, because this is the beauty of the roster that they put together. Is sometimes you're going to have dominant pitching most of the time and you can squeak out a 2-1 victory. Sometimes this lineup is so deep you're going to put up 10 and win a 10-6 game. That's wonderful to see.
And I love that they put up 10 without a home run. Like, obviously home runs are great, and like we're going to need to start slugging a little bit more down the line, but this was a lineup effort, a cohesive lineup effort.
Big series win.
Kept the line moving, got clutch hits when we needed them.
I want to talk about some hit by pitches stuff.
Yeah.
The Lindor got plunked right in the quad again, kind of an upsetting thing. Yohan Lopez again comes into the game. Is he the guy? Did they do it on purpose?
Is he the sheriff?
It looked like he was intending to hit Schwarber.
Yeah.
He missed in big time twice. There was warnings that had on both sides. The umpires were like, dude, this looks like he's throwing it on purpose. Ends up hitting Alec Boehm on a splitty in the ribs area and didn't get tossed because he didn't have the control. And the umpires, I think rightfully so, on the broadcast they were saying he needs to get tossed.
No.
It was an off-speed pitch. I agree with how and there was 2 outs in the ninth. If you don't want to slow this game down, let's keep it going.
If they have to come in cold.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I thought the umpire crew did it right.
Yeah.
But Yohan Lopez, you're not the guy. Don't do it. We need somebody else. If you're going to be an enforcer, we need a guy in there that can have control, that does it the first time. A guy goes down to first base. No questions asked. No thought process behind. Is he doing it on purpose? Are they going to retaliate? Yeah. And then you get a discussion. It shouldn't be a discussion. It should be like, oh, I plunked him. No warnings issued because you don't know. It's not enough time to think about, is he trying this? So Yohan Lopez rightfully going to be the guy most likely sent out with the roster trimming down.
For sure. On the pitching
harness
side
your
of
stuff,
things.
My friend.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot to work on. I'm sure that
he's good. He's fine.
He had some nice stuff.
Yeah, he had good stuff. Again, just this is the thing that the Mets have been complaining about, being able to harness your stuff.
Yeah.
Can't do it, man. This is the big leagues.
Yeah,
Go down there.
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
And I do think that if we do see somebody called up from AAA again, aside from Peterson, I would like to get another look at Adonis Medina. He looked really good in the Arizona set.
Yep.
Lopez is the guy going down on the pitching side. We should talk about...
Do you want to cover it now, or you want to go over the let's do the series recap and then talk about roster?
Yeah.
Let's do the team notables apples of our eyes.
Ooh, yeah, and that's your favorite.
That is my favorite. Okay, I'm a fan.
Great Mets notes. Their team whip of 1.03, batting average against of 194, and on-base percentage allowed of 267 are their best marks in March and April in franchise history. So this pitching staff is generational among Mets teams ever. Their 10.1 strikeout per nine is the second best mark, only to 2021, which was 11.2 last year. Wow. So that's pretty cool. MLB fined Yohan Lopez this week. Francisco Lindor and Eduardo Escobar paid it because they're great teammates, and that's just kind of the culture we're talking about now.
They're a lot more rich than Yohan Lopez.
It's also true. Kind of would have been a bad look if they didn't cover it.
Yeah, especially when he was sticking up for his team.
Yeah, of course. And then Jeff McNeil, who we love. We believed in the redemption here. His 361 batting average, 4th in the NL, 7th in the majors.
Wild. That's awesome. He looks awesome. Another 2 doubles last night, right?
Yep.
Yeah, just crushing the ball all over the place. Beautiful.
He could hit 5 home runs this year, and I wouldn't care as long as he just keeps going oppo and hitting doubles in the gap. I do not care. All right, guys, before we get into all that, we got to tell you about today's sponsor for Shea Station, and that is Topps. Once again, the guys from the Arizona place. Celebrate the start of the 2022 MLB season with the 2022 Topps Series 1 Baseball NFT Collection, dropping tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern on ToppsNFTs.com. Showcase your favorite players and teams with this Jerry's making me laugh. Fan favorite set featuring both digitally reimagined Topps-based series collectibles as well as NFT exclusive designs. This highly anticipated release includes brand new products such as Stars of MLB Chrome, Generation Now, Ultra Short Print, Team Cube 2.0, and a special 1987 35th anniversary motion set. Kind of wish it said 1986 for our Mets fans, but that's
Good luck following this face, Jack.
Guys, that is ToppsNFTs.com. Go get started.
Nothing like pushing NFTs.
The collection drops tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's the hardest ad read of all time.
Do you want to go first? I'll go first.
You go first.
All right. This is the apple of my eye. Beautiful. It's just beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
A lot to choose from. A lot of hitters. You got Dom Smith doing great things. Jeff McNeil. But my apple of my eye is the return of Mr. Taijuan Walker.
Wow. Tell me why.
Taijuan Walker returned in a quick turnaround from his IL stint.
Yeah.
Hadn't gotten stretched out. There was a lot of pressure on him because Peterson looked really good. There was an easy, what's the phrase? There was an easy conversation to be had where go down, have another start, stretch out, and they're like, because he had such a rough ending to his season last year.
Right.
I'm sure he was like, I'm ready, bring me back. So for him to kind of force the issue a little bit, bring him in, 5 really good 0 earned runs given up.
Yep.
I would like to see his strikeout total go up, and I think it will. But it was very important for him and the rotation as a whole to look completely healthy, minus Jacob deGrom. But for him to have that bounce back, that's why I chose him in a spot where coming off of that no-hitter, you feel a little bit of a letdown. But he looked good. He looked healthy, strong. I was like, man, is he wincing every throw? I was really paying attention to it, trying to see what we got. He looked great, man. I was excited to see.
I got 2 things for you.
Yeah.
One, the splitter has been great for Taijuan this season, much better than last season. Hitters are 0 for 10 against it. All 5 of his strikeouts have come on that splitter. 2, a little bit of Bartolo in that haircut. I see it a little bit. Do you see it at all?
I do.
Like a tiny, tiny bit.
Bartolo's haircut is not a great haircut.
I think it's great. I don't know what you're talking
it's
about.
just, having seen it from all angles in the clubhouse and everything, the way it's just a unique shape. Taiwan's got the more natural growth, which I love. I think eventually, I hope it gets bigger. I'm a fan of the big hair. I played with Coco Crisp in Oakland when he rocked a huge afro.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things that I've ever seen. It's just beautiful watching him run around. Then he squeezes that helmet on top of it, and
I was going to say, does it hurt to get the hat on and helmet at that point?
It didn't hurt. It was an issue. It was a thing, but it was worth it for me because it was beautiful to look at. This wonderful center fielder just flapping hair around everywhere. So I would love to see Taijuan rock the full afro.
Let it grow, Taijuan.
I'm a fan. So I don't want to say you have the Bartolo haircut because I like his haircut a little bit.
I didn't mean
better.
it as an insult. I want to stress that.
Okay, good. All right.
That's a high compliment.
And again, I don't want to bury Bartolo. He's a beautiful man in his own right.
We know that. Come on. We know that. A lot of great offensive choices for me here. We love Jeff McNeil. He went 6 for 11, 2 doubles, 3 RBI. That would have been an easy pick. Dom Smith went 4 for 4 in the last game. I'm also going to take a pitcher, though.
I'm a fan.
And I'm going to take Edwin Diaz. Diaz only threw 1 inning this series. I do think that it was the biggest inning of the Mets season, personally. We're going to talk about the Cano, of course. Diaz struck out the side. His slider looked incredible. And I just think that if it was the 2019 season and we get that far, we get 8 no-hit innings, and we bring in 2019 Edwin Diaz, we see a very different iteration of how that game ends. But I do think that, I know you disagreed, and that's perfectly fine. I just feel like Edwin Diaz is reaching another plane this season.
I don't disagree with you that he has reached another plane.
Good.
I think he's vintage and maybe even better now because of the ability for him to make in-game, in-at-bat adjustments pitch to pitch.
Yep.
We've seen him throw a bad slider, then immediately correct it or take 2, to be able to turn around. Whereas before, especially last year, he would just be like, all right, now I'm just going to throw fastballs.
Yep.
I like it. I like his choice. Again, he was the only one of the combined no-hitter to understand where he was in the situation, and he faced a very daunting 3-4-5 in Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, and Nick Castellanos, and dominated them.
I mean,
did he get Real Muto?
Harper, Castellanos, Real Muto.
Yeah, Real Muto. So he got those 3, which are very good hitters. This is what the Phillies are trying to do, and he looked unhittable.
I mean, I always get flashbacks when I see Diaz face Harper, because Harper took him deep last year. That was a tough series for us just in general, and I just think that he looked so confident. He looked so ready for the moment like not afraid of it at all. And I just love that he is now a part of Mets history in that way. So Edwin Diaz gets the apple of my eye. Again, just 1 inning, 3 strikeouts, 1 save.
Love it.
But big inning for me across the whole
That's
season.
Fine. Good.
Let's talk Cano.
Do you want to get into the Cano debate,
I think we should. I don't even know if I'd call it
not a debate.
I want to hear you flesh out your whole opinion on it.
Okay.
That's what I want.
So, again, somebody pointed out, I truly don't care about the historical ramifications of a combined no-hitter. I think it's a lot less of an achievement than a regular no-hitter because this is a starting pitcher who faces this lineup 3 times through, gets up and down. He knows about the 6th inning, 5th inning that he's got a no-hitter going. The stress gets built. Everybody starts tuning in from around the country, around the world into this thing, and it's like, oh, will he do it? So there wasn't that buildup for me of a pitcher doing it because even the Mets pitchers didn't know that they were throwing a no-hitter, and it was just like, oh. And so there wasn't that buildup for me. That being said, I really don't care, but a lot of Mets fans did, and they voiced their opinions to me, which I love. I'm glad that they feel that interaction necessary, and they feel like we can go back and forth. I love it. They said that it was a big moment for them. It is a moment for the franchise of the New York Mets. It's their second no-hitter. So I will give them that. It's a no-hitter for the franchise. It's a huge no-hitter for James McCann. It's his second one. That's a big deal as a catcher because he's doing it all. And he knows that all of this is happening. Mm-hmm. So he's feeling that. You saw the one he threw with Giolito. Did you see the wall? I think on the broadcast last night they showed what he has. He's going to get the home plate after this homestand. They're going to dig it up because of what he did with Giolito. And so he's going to get that. But for me, what I think of when I think of no-hitters, I think of Nolan Ryan's 7 no-hitters. I think of him holding up those baseballs with zeros on them. Yeah. And if you ask Tyler McGill, hey, have you ever thrown a no-hitter? What is he gonna say? I threw 5/9 of one.
I was part of one.
I was part of one. And people were like, well, if you were pitching in that situation.
I saw that reply.
And here's the thing. I remember in 2005, I played in Peoria, Illinois, Peoria Chiefs when I was with the Cubs. I don't know who they are now, but the Peoria Chiefs were the Cubs. There was a combined no-hitter. My friend Sean Gallagher, who played in the big leagues for a little bit, had an unbelievable start to the season. I think he threw like 45 innings straight to start the season as a 19-year-old kid. Scoreless, 45 innings, unbelievable. Crazy. Anyway, so he threw a combined no-hitter, and I lived with him and another guy named Walt Nolan, good friend of mine. They had like champagne. They both had the same agent. The agent since Champagne, I think he was 19 or 20, Gallagher at the time. Okay. And he was like drinking it while playing video games. I was like, what are you drinking champagne for? And he's like, we threw a no-hitter. I go, what do you mean we? You threw 5 innings or something. And then his next start, it went the same thing. And I blew it in the 9th. I don't remember. So I really don't care. It wasn't a thing that was like, I blew his second no-hitter. Would have been cool, I guess, but it wasn't a thing to me. So I didn't care in that aspect. I care that the fans cared. Clearly, the players, they charged. They rushed the field a little bit. There was some like weird jumping around.
It was lukewarm. It wasn't crazy, yeah.
But in the post game, all the pitchers lined up and answering questions was really cool.
Yep.
It meant a lot to those guys to be a part of history. So I will not take away from that. I will not take away the moment from the fans in the stadium, because you can feel the emotion. I watched some videotape. So just because I don't really feel
right.
I don't let me rain on your parade. I'm not normally the type. I just don't find the significance. But somebody pointed out that it was like you didn't take the account of the fan. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I did. I'm a fan too. I'm a fan of the game. And then I was like, wait a minute. Maybe I'm not, because this team, I'm a fan of baseball, and I love the Mets.
Of course.
I do, because I have history with them as a player. And so I don't think of the entire history of the Mets, and these fans do, because they're like, this is only our second no-hitter.
Right.
And so they do see it in a bigger light. It is a bigger thing to them And so enjoy it. Because I don't care about it as much as you do, don't let me, poo-poo your situation. I'll be the wet blanket. I'm not gonna, if we were together at the stadium, just because I don't feel the same thing, I'm not gonna sit there and humbug it. I'm gonna jump around with you, and I'm gonna do the lukewarm celebration on the field with everybody. I just truly don't think of it as a big enough achievement for a player. And again, I see it now, as the fans so rightfully pointed out. This is a tough thing for me as a former player because I don't see it the way a diehard Mets fan would, and I'm willing to accept that.
Yeah.
Just because I view it differently than you do, don't let me, ruin your fun time. Have a fun time.
And I think that's a good perspective. I think both perspectives are fine. I think it's important for a player to have that perspective because there is the art of the game that needs to be protected there. There's only one complete game this year so far, Walker Buehler. There's only been one across the entirety of baseball. I think the one pitcher no-hitter is going to become rarer and rarer to the point where maybe it doesn't even happen anymore. At the same time, Mets fans are used to being defensive just in general because we're constantly looked at as a laughingstock team, and a lot of people like to discredit us, and a lot of people don't believe in this hot start. Those are all fine. Those are all other opinions. At the same time, me being a Mets fan, I know that I love Johan's no-hitter. At the same time, if the replay system is installed in 2012, that no-hitter doesn't happen because that Beltran line drive down the left field line that hits the chalk, that's a double. That's not a foul ball.
Did he even hit the chalk? I felt like it was a foot in.
There's a full mark.
Yeah.
On the chalk. Yeah, it was a bad call. But
it was a bad call.
We'll take it.
But there's a bunch of those. Armando Galarraga would have a perfect game.
Exactly.
There's all throughout history you could say, how many of Roger Clemens' 20 or Kerry Wood's 20 strikeouts were actually balls. Eventually there's going to be robo-umps, so you're not going to retroactively change things.
Exactly.
And so that's fair. I see you. Continue. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's just I think I think a lot of Mets fans will agree that in terms of baseball history significance, this no-hitter isn't any different from any other combined no-hitter. And when I think I can't tell you who threw the Seattle Mariners combined no-hitter from a couple years ago. The Phillies had one. I have no idea who pitched in that game, but I'll always remember who pitched in this game because I'm a Mets fan.
That's good, and it means something to you as a Mets fan. I fully accept that I don't see the significance of it, but I do see that it's significant to Mets fans. So I won't ever. I didn't want to be the wet blanket in that scenario, and I won't.
I don't think you told, and I don't think you told Mets fans to not
I wasn't.
be happy.
And again, in text form, when you're on Twitter, things come out different, however you want to read them. So I wasn't ever raining on anybody else's parade. I was just saying, I truly don't care.
Yeah.
But I do care that Mets fans have a thing that they can be proud of, and all the fans that were at that game are going to have that ticket stub, and it's going to mean something to them.
Exactly.
I don't think it's as big as an accomplishment, and I don't think they do either, that you get to see a Jacob deGrom complete game no-hitter.
Yeah.
It would be a bigger thing because you can also attribute it to a single person. There is one. So first of all, Rob Friedman, Pitching Ninja.
Yep.
I think he coined Cano.
I like it a lot.
I do too. It's a thing that we could use because it's not the same thing. It also signifies
because they should be different.
They should be different. So shout out to the Pitching Ninja on Twitter. Amazing follow.
Yeah, great
but
follow.
Cano. There is one that a fan from the West Coast on my A's days hit me up of a combined no-hitter of a Cano that is significant, and it was the post Tyler Skaggs no-hitter that the whole team threw, and then they put the jerseys on the mound.
Yeah.
Got me emotional. I just got chills thinking about it. So those are moments in a franchise that I can get behind.
Yes.
But as a former player, it's hard for me to fully envelop into the fandom of a franchise. I respect it. I admire it. Do your thing. Don't take offense to me not enjoying it as much as you do, because I don't take offense, and I don't think that you're wrong as a fan to feel. Feel however you feel, man. This is America. It's a beautiful thing. You're allowed to have your own opinions, and don't let my opinion reign on your opinion.
I love that. I have a fun game for you here.
Deal.
2 combined no-hitters last year. Can you tell me either of the teams that threw them?
I don't know. I don't know, nor do I care.
I didn't know until I just looked now.
By the way, Jimmy O'Brien, our fearless leader here at Jomboy, Jomboy himself, feels the same way I do.
Of course.
And there's going to be a bunch more of these combined no-hitters. Konos are going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Because it's
and I feel
easier.
like they should have their own genre.
I think they will.
Yeah.
it's easier. There was a lot of argument. There's only been 17 in history. There's only been 17 because a starting pitcher never got pulled when they had one before. And it's going to be a health issue now because they understand player safety and the value moving forward. If Johan Santana were in the game today, he would not have thrown that no-hitter because it did derail his resurgence of his career.
That's an interesting discussion
there. It did, 100%. It affected him.
If the foul ball is ruled fair, he probably gets yanked in the 6th or 7th.
Even if it doesn't. Even if his pitch count gets up there, you look at his career, what you need from the Mets as a whole, I think he gets pulled. Yeah. He probably doesn't feel that way because in his era, you're going to have to fight him to get him off that field.
Yeah.
And I respect that. He might still be like, you're going to have 2 pitchers on this mound and I'm going to have to punch my friend because I'm not coming out.
This is my mound.
But what's the right move? In that sense, because of the Mets weren't really in anything, if I recall correctly, it made a moment for the Mets to rally behind, which is beautiful.
The Baxter catch, we had never had one before.
But if he doesn't 2 outs in the 9th and he gives up a hit, is it worth it for his career to kind of be over?
Yeah.
Again, do what you got to do. Cano's a thing. It's much easier to do because the starting pitcher doesn't have to face the lineup another time. I threw a ton of 1 out or 1 inning without giving up a hit.
Yeah.
I'm not that good. I had a solid career. That was my job. But it's so much easier to face 3, 4, 5 guys and not give up a hit than it is to do it for 3, Anyway.
It's valid.
Enjoy it. It's a franchise cool mark, but to me, it's just different.
Yeah.
So
2 Conos from last year. Corbin Burns went 8 innings. He got pulled after 115 pitches.
Yet another
Hated
why
that.
you don't you don't get the Cy Young for me. Zach Wheeler should have won the Cy Young last year.
That's a take,
because
baby.
He's not coming out, man.
Yeah.
He's more important.
At the same time, do you remember that Wheeler game last year where he went the full 9, gave up 5 runs in the last inning?
I sure do.
That's what happens, baby.
There's an argument to be made.
It's fun to argue. Here's something that we're probably not going to argue about. The Mets have to make some cuts today.
Yeah, they
As
do.
of right now in the recording, we don't know who it is because we're recording at 10:51 Eastern time. I think it's probably going to get announced later. Yohan Lopez probably out of the bullpen.
I mean, that's an easy one. He's the pitcher's got to be. He's the guy.
He's got options.
Stinks for him, but no matter what he did, he'll be back. There'll be need for him.
Here, so on the hitting side of things, it becomes a way, way harder.
So let's go
debate.
over the candidates.
So you can argue that it could be Jankowski or Guillorme.
Absolutely could be. Jankowski was a late addition to the expanded. He made the team because of the rosters expanding. Mm-hmm. He's been almost invaluable. I would be flabbergasted if he's the guy, but he's an option.
If Guillorme goes, you don't have a backup shortstop. Your
Correct.
backup shortstop becomes Eduardo Escobar, who...
Jankowski doesn't have any options, which is the reason why the Mets got him, correct?
Yes.
Luis Guillorme does have an option, so he could go down and the Mets could still hold on to him. I still don't see that as a likely scenario because he's played well and he's
hitting really well.
He has played multiple positions defensively. He's a glove first guy, so I don't think he is the guy either.
Then it turns to J.D. Davis.
J.D. Davis also has option.
Yes.
So he could be moved down without getting possibly picked up on waivers.
Then you're missing power off
But
the
then
bench.
you're missing a power right-handed hitter off the bench that's done it before, and we need that. So I would be flabbergasted yet again if it's J.D. Davis.
So we agree that the 3 guys that we've just listed all do not make sense.
Very
to get cut.
unlikely, correct.
That leaves Dominic Smith, who just went 4 for 4 last night in his start, and Robinson Cano.
So, yes, these are the 2 guys. Is it going to be Robbie Cano, who's struggled mightily, but hasn't really had his ups and downs, had that Oppo home run, plays a solid defense, hasn't had any really bad plays defensively. He's well-liked in the clubhouse. He is making $20 million this year and $20 million or $40 million's left on that contract in 2 seasons.
Yeah, 24 this million.
So if it's Robbie Cano, he is gone.
Yes.
His $40 million, you wear that, and he has no added value to the franchise anymore.
And Dom Smith has options.
Dom Smith has an option left.
Yeah.
So you could theoretically move down Dom Smith and keep him as an option, keep Robbie Cano, and let the experiment go on. So these are the 2 options for me.
Yes.
You cut Robbie Cano right now, end the experiment, and Dom Smith and J.D. Davis are your guys. Or they option Dom Smith down and keep Robbie Cano and allow it to go another couple of weeks and really let him have some more at-bats. And if it doesn't work in a month, bring Dom Smith back, and now Robbie Cano gets released.
So here's my perspective. It shouldn't be Jankowski because I think that you risk hurting Nimmo or Marte by having to play them every day without a reserve outfielder. Like McNeil plays left, sure, but I want McNeil at second base.
Yeah,
personally.
And Jankowski he's
playing well.
I've played against him for a long time. I didn't realize how good he was out there. He is smooth in the outfield.
When he's healthy, he's really good.
And he's pinch ran and he flies. Very good fourth outfielder, like ideal fourth outfielder.
The Mets bench is so good right now. It has everything you need for late game additions and giving guys off days.
So Jankowski's no.
I would be very disappointed if
because Jankowski would be gone.
He would get scooped up by somebody.
Absolutely,
too. Somebody would
deservedly too.
Yes, he's played well.
Yep.
Guillorme, you can't. Because he plays
much versatility.
Every infield position, and he does it well. And he's hitting well for once. Like we've kind of taken away the hitting for him in the past for like defensive substitutions. He's an all-around player right now.
Correct. He is a complete player. I think
the Mets would regret it if they put him down. And you can't have two left-handed DHs on your bench.
So J.D. Davis is not the guy
I don't think
either.
it should be J.D. Davis
I completely agree. So we're back to the two-man race. What do you think should happen?
If any team in baseball is going to cut bait and eat that much money to make their team instantly better, it would be the New York Mets. Would it not? Maybe the Dodgers? There's only two teams in baseball I can think of that make that move. And I think that it's tough because I know a lot of players are speaking about how much they like Cano and what he brings to the clubhouse. But his numbers on the year he has one home run against the Diamondbacks. That was cool. He went oppo. But he's 8 for 41, all singles aside from that home run. Just 2 walks, and he struck out 11 times. His OPS plus is 50, and his chase rate is the highest it's been in his entire career.
I understand it. Yeah. But to play devil's advocate here, what has Dom Smith done before last night, where he had 4 hits? What were his numbers? They were even worse.
That is the other side of the coin here. I'm going to pull it up because Dom had a great pinch hitting year last year. Obviously, a tough year overall in 2021. In 2022, things have been similarly bad for him up until last night, where he really just, I feel like, made the decision that much harder. His OPS going into last night's game was 490. Coming out, it was 654. Yeah. So he really just bumped up all of the stats in one go.
I mean, again, that's such a short sample size that those 4 hits are significant.
They are very significant.
He's also here. I agree with you. I think it should be Robbie Cano.
Yeah.
Because if it's not Robbie Cano now, it could be in a month, and now you have Dom Smith, who's already was angry to begin with because he felt slighted by the New York Mets because he's not going to get everyday playing time. Wanted to trade, didn't say it, but wanted to go play every day.
Yeah.
Got over it, and he looks better at the plate now. Obviously, what have you done for me lately?
Yes.
He had 4 hits, did a good job. So if you option him down to continue this experiment in a month's time, he's going to be bitter because he's going to go to Syracuse and be angry. Or he has a chance to be bitter. I don't want to say that.
Sure.
He has a chance to be bitter because he's back in the minor leagues.
I would understand if he was.
Yeah, I think I would be. There's a reason why you get a couple of days when you get optioned down. It's not just logistics of getting to your place. It's because you're mentally – it's a tough position to get optioned down. Yeah, it's hard. It's
Dom
hard
hasn't been there since 2018.
Because there's no promise that you're going to make it back. What if you get hurt? All these things when you get optioned down, your dream could be over.
Yes.
And so there's a significant weight to it. I think it should be Robbie Cano who gets cut because you don't want to continue this thought process.
Yeah.
So in a month, you're going to have to think about it again as Robbie Cano started to hit, because if not, now you bring up a guy that might be a little bit bitter. And so I think this experiment, I don't know Robbie Cano. I know he has 2 PEDs. I've been hard on him in the past. I saw a flash of what he could do with that home run because he went oppo. It looked good, but I don't think it's worth it at this point anymore. Or I think it's worth just cutting that $40 million.
And it's just a matter of when, because it's not like it ends this year. There's a whole nother year to this Cano contract that if you're settling and you're saying we're going to demote Dom and we're going to keep Cano, you're committing to 2 years of Cano. Otherwise, you're just delaying the inevitable.
Well, I feel like that's the thought process. He's not here for he's not here for the long haul, because I feel like it's just going to be, if he doesn't hit, there's going to be talk of this for a long time here.
Yeah.
Because he's going to have to step up. If he's the guy that stays, he's going to have to prove it. Otherwise, there's going to be constant talk of, Cano went 0 for 3 again today. He didn't hit. He's got another couple strikeouts. Dom Smith's ready. Is he the guy? There's going to be constant debate. So I think the Mets do it, not just because Dom Smith had 4 hits last night, because they're sick of having this conversation. A weighty conversation in an otherwise almost flawless season.
I was going to say
they don't want this kind of string to possibly be pulled to separate this. So as good as Robbie Cano is in the clubhouse, so is Dom Smith. He has a history here of being a well-liked, well-productive guy. So I think they do it not just from the baseball perspective of who is going to provide more. I think it's an easy choice because you just don't want this at the back of everybody's minds when they're trying to win a World Series.
So we're going to find out in about an hour or so.
Yeah.
Most likely. Maybe the Mets will delay it a little bit longer, but who knows? And that's the current debate. It's definitely interesting. I'm hoping the best for whatever happens, but the guys said yesterday that it's going to be a difficult day.
It's a tough decision. There's Robbie Cano seems to be well liked by coaches, players, everybody. So if he's the guy, it just feels like that to me. It feels like he's the guy, and sometimes you have to make these decisions. I've been released and optioned down a million times in my career. It's never fun.
Happened to me a lot too.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're
relegated.
I don't know why you're laughing. It's very
that's a good point. I apologize. I don't want to be insensitive for your life process.
Those are my trials. Okay, we just got the news.
Okay, so
Yohan Lopez has been optioned to AAA, and today infielder Robinson Cano has been designated for assignment.
Wow, live, but not live. That
was crazy.
So first of all, good luck to Robbie Cano. Go do your thing, whatever it is you choose to do. Congratulations to Dom Smith.
Thank God.
This feels like a relief for him. The conversation, I'm sure, will be pretty deep. I'm sure we'll hear from Buck. We'll hear from everybody involved. But shout out to Jolly and Jerry here.
That was a huge. That's gonna get clipped. For sure.
Shout out to us. I just feel like
better now.
It is. It's kind of like finally, because we love Dom and we felt like he deserved a chance to play every day. We talked about it in our PPPs because I was worried, you were worried about just the at bats not being there. Now, just play ball.
Yeah.
And there's still some pressure on him to produce, but he can have a longer leash. There's nothing, looking over his shoulder constantly. He can play some baseball now. Mets
fans are in joyous disbelief now.
Are everybody happy?
Everybody is chattering. This is it's a culture thing, I think. And I think we cannot mess with the juju of this team, and we need to put the best product out there. And I think that the Mets made the right decision. It was a $40 million decision, so that's a tough one to make. But I mean, like we said, if you didn't do it now, you were either going to do it later or you were going to wait 2 years out for Cano to return to form. And that just wasn't going to happen.
I'm not ready to get into what happens to Robbie Cano.
I think he goes.
Talk.
You want to hear my theory?
Does he go to the Yankees?
I think he goes to
retire?
the Yankees. Yeah, I think he goes back.
I mean, that's the first thing that popped into my head. Yeah. Do they need another guy?
They're dominating. He is of the caliber of some of their reserve guys, in my opinion. So.
All right. They have like leading lead in homers. Like they're doing well. So I don't know. But this is a good moment, and it's a smart decision. Again, another front office decision. I'm sure Buck had a hand in this conversation for sure. But I feel like it's the right move. It just takes another question mark out of the system, and you can just focus on baseball. And I'm sure that went into it significantly, and I'm sure that's what they told Robbie Cano, that, hey man, you did great for us, we appreciate everything, we wish you the best of luck, but this is the best decision for the franchise of the New York Mets and this 2022 iteration of the team. And I think it's the smart move. Nice to see the smart move be had by a team trying to win the World Series.
I agree. All right, hey, should we look ahead to
Let's
the Braves?
Look ahead. Absolutely. Hey.
Jimmy's in. I'm sure he just heard the news as well. We were just talking about
How's it going? Robbie Cano is
cut.
a free agent. Heading to your Yankees.
Future Yankee right there. Would you bring him back?
Good for the Mets. That's what we were just saying. Yeah.
Would you bring him back? No.
I agree. What do you need?
Jimmy's out on him. Not a fan.
What do you need?
We're looking for a USB mic.
Is it this football?
It's right there. Hey, Kenobia. We got all sorts of guests here, guys.
Oh,
if you're not watching on YouTube, you have no idea what's going on.
Oh, it's okay. You're allowed.
Big news.
Huge
It is
news.
big.
Warrington? It was that bad?
Did you watch a lot of it?
He was sub 200, one extra base hit, which was an Oppo home run. But he it was rough.
It was bad. Dom went 4 for 4 last night, so cutting him after that would have been bad.
Bye, Jimmy.
Shout out Jomboy. You just stopped by.
Jomboy at the
Let's
Jomboy.
look ahead.
Dan, come in here. Let's introduce you. Come here for real. Come here. Come stand by Jolly. If you guys are fans of boxing,
yes.
This is the newest addition to the Jomboy family, Dan Canobio.
Hello.
A fantastic follow.
I agree. I move his stuff every day when we record.
We were talking beforehand about the boxing resurgence they're having right now, coming up in the world. If you're a Mets fan and you like boxing, this is the guy to follow, Dan Canobio.
Handsome.
Not just handsome, and if you watched our Blitzball stuff, he's
And
a fantastic
only
left-handed pitcher.
21 years old, which is crazy.
Add 13 years onto that.
Yeah, he's more my age. We're of the same ilk.
I don't know what you're
All right,
talking
Dan.
about. Now,
So-
should we look ahead? We had a lot of guests.
We
That was
did.
A lot,
Well,
a lot just happened.
Enjoy editing that.
Yeah, tough for Jack.
Let's
Tough
look ahead. We got a big Brave series. We got
Yes.
a 4-game series in 3 days. We've got a night game, doubleheader, day game getaway. So this is going to be a lot of baseball packed in, and that's a good thing because the news that just came out. You don't have to dwell. You're just
Yes.
going right into a division rival, the returning World Series defending champions coming in, and it's a good one.
Yeah.
So
Game 1, I'm really looking forward to.
Chris Bassett coming off of a good outing versus Max Fried, Cy Young candidate. He hasn't been great. Looked great his last outing.
Yeah.
McNeil career 7 for 20 with 4 RBI. Alonso 4 for 18 with 2 homers. Fried has a 2.78 ERA in 68 innings against the Mets. And no Brave starter has had more than 1 AB against Bassett. Another lovely addition to getting a guy from the American League.
Kind of the best part about every Bassett start is that nobody has ever
And
faced him.
with his delivery and all the funkiness and quirkiness that comes with him, and
Yep.
his ability to just throw any pitch at any speed at any time really helps him out. So that's game 1. That's tonight. Game 2. Game 1 of the doubleheader. Cookie Carrasco versus Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton struggled out of the gates. Got a 7 ERA.
Yeah.
But we're going to see against Cookie Carrasco, Matt Olson 3 for 4 with 2 homers. That's
Scary.
small sample, but significant.
Yeah.
You got Charlie Morton has yet to reach 6 innings in a start, never allowing less than 2 earned runs. So he struggled. They're going to need him. Again, he's an older guy. They won the World Series, so he pitched a lot. And
Broke his foot in the World Series.
Broke his foot coming off injury, delayed spring training. So he hasn't looked great, but he's got time.
Yeah.
And then game 3, or the second game of the doubleheader, game 3, we have David Peterson with his
Most
point.
likely. This is me
This is
hypothesizing.
projected.
But
this is
I would be
projected
shocked
because
if
you
it
can
wasn't.
bring up another guy for
Yes.
the doubleheader.
Yes.
Probably it's either that or a bullpen guy, most likely.
Medina, maybe. He might come in and be the opener.
Pour a little Medina in your glass.
I like it.
I can't help
I
it.
like him.
Tone Loke. I like it. But it's probably going to be Peterson. Yeah, to be determined against Kyle Wright. Kyle Wright, who has been like a huge prospect. I was there in 2019.
Yeah.
He wasn't ready. He has really came along. He's shown that he is elite. One of the first round pick. Unbelievable stuff. He's really put it together. He looked incredible.
Like, it feels like he's filling the Mike Soroka hole in that rotation.
Yeah, but his ceiling is even higher than
I'd
Soroka.
say so too. Yeah.
He was expected to be this guy. He's a late bloomer as far as like top prospects go, but he's got that great curveball, high velocity. He's really started to learn how to pitch, and he's had a long leash because he's got great stuff. But he's got a 1.13 ERA. Stellar. So, but Peterson allowed 7 earned runs and 4 2/3 in his lone AAA start. I really don't care about that either. Just that he's got.
I think it was
length.
a mental thing.
Yeah. Plus,
Altitude,
you're whatever the case may be. He's just going down.
Yeah.
That Kyle Wright that we spoke of has 34 strikeouts in 24 innings and has
Yeah.
yet to give up a homer in 2022. And then we are at Game 4. The last day, Tyler McGill and his 1.93 ERA against Ian Anderson, who's also struggled coming back, 4.66 ERA. Again, I expect him to bounce back, especially interdivision. He's going to do that changeup. I like him a lot. Him and Tyler McGill, as far as mentality, I think is a good comparison. Similar age. I feel like Ian Anderson's a year ahead of him as far as service time and experience. But I expect him to have a bounce back.
We just got a text from Peter Moylan.
I had to, yeah. James McCann is 4 for 7 with a home run against Anderson. Dom Smith is 3 for 10 with a home run against Anderson. Glad that you put that in because it's now the guy. And no Braves hitter has more than 3 hits against McGill. And Anderson does not have a scoreless start this season.
It's going to be a good series.
It's going to be a good series. We're going to see Matt Olson.
Yes.
Ronald Acuna just came back. We all know how good that guy is.
Yeah.
Max Fried looked really good in his last start, a bounce back. Charlie Morton looking for that bounce back.
Yeah.
This is a good Braves team. They are missing Freddie Freeman. It is significant loss, but Matt Olson, you guys don't know. He was on that Chris Bassett A's, but Matt Olson is Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, I would say that
he's
it feels like the Braves are getting a second start to their season.
Yeah,
right now.
There's again, I don't know. I feel really heavy about them losing Freddie Freeman.
Yes.
Because he meant a lot more to their franchise than just being a great player and a former MVP, World Series champion. He was in on those decisions. He would have sat in on the decision on who to cut. He talks about who you're going to, like, what your getaway day is, what hotel you're going to stay at. He was in on these conversations. Matt Olson is a great player. In a strictly baseball perspective, I think they made the right choice. We'll see if that chemistry comes together because they haven't played great. But Matt Olson is a great baseball player, left-handed hitter. You're going to see you're also going to see Acuna.
Yep.
And
Marcell Ozuna is back.
Marcell Ozuna is back. We have Travis d'Arnaud is returning.
It's always weird facing him.
I know.
He's played around, but I still think of him as a
You'll
Met
get
mostly.
to see first Kenley Jansen closing out games in a Braves uniform, which is still weird to see.
Is Kirby Yates healthy? Actually?
He is not yet.
Not yet.
No,
okay.
not yet.
Cool.
I don't think so. Yeah, he's nasty. But Will Smith looks really good.
For some reason.
Yeah.
Can't explain it.
Yeah. So this is going to be a really big series. 4 games in 3 days, tight series. This will be fun.
First against the Braves. You got a doubleheader here. We swept our doubleheader against the Giants. That was huge.
That's day 2. We have 1 game tonight.
No, I know.
Oh,
the
okay.
doubleheader coming
Yep.
the next day. And I need Cookie to bounce back. Cookie got roughed up last start.
Yeah.
Kind of looking for him to find it again. Tough lineup here, but I think he's up to the task.
Austin Riley is the real deal. Dansby Swanson struggled a little bit, but it's looked good.
Hit a
Ozzy
home run
Albies
last
is
night.
Ozzy Albies.
He's coming around a little bit. Tyler McGill, who's my guy. He looked awesome last start. He faces the Braves for the first time this season. Had some good starts against them last year as well. I'm really looking forward to game 1 more than any other game. Set the tone. Chris Bassett take the mound. Max Fried has given us some trouble in the past. That's a big game for me.
I'm looking at how they handle Matt Olson.
Yep.
If Ronald Acuna he looks fully back. He stole 2 bases in his debut. But I really want to see Cookie Carrasco. I want to see him bounce back because he didn't look bad. He got roughed up, but he didn't look bad.
No.
His stuff was still sharp. He was still velo up. So I'd like to see him have a good bounce back against a division rival here.
And you have a chance here for the Mets to lose their first series of the year if they split or whatever happens here. But big series against the Braves. We
How
get the
would
Phillies
that work
again.
if they go 2-2?
I don't know because they didn't lose a series, but the streak right now is that they've won every series.
Yeah.
I think
Let's just win 3.
Let's just win 3. Make it
And win
easy.
sweep it.
Don't make me think.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. I don't know. We'll see. There's smarter people out there that are they're gonna know the ins and outs of what you can talk about.
But let's beat
This
up on
is
the
a big
hungover
series.
Braves. Let's beat up.
Let's do it, man.
I think that's it. That was an action-packed
Oh
episode.
my gosh! A good thing I had my coffee this morning.
Seriously, I need more
in
coffee.
studio with these shiny faces. I love it.
Everyone's popping in.
Yeah, we got a lot of little Canobio got introduced.
I love
we got
Canobio.
Jom coming in looking for microphones all over the place.
Oh, and I think that we have a sponsor to talk about as
Oh.
well.
We got the news live.
Yeah. Well, actually, okay. So we'll cut this part out. I'm gonna have to do the ad reads separate, I think, because I totally
What is
forgot
our
about them.
ad read?
I think we have 2 of them.
I'll put it in.
Yeah.
Hi,
you can
it's
just
me,
splice 'em.
Jolly. What's the ad read?
It is
Roman ready?
No, it's Tops. Yeah, it's Tops.
Tops butt now.
All right, so I'll do this separate,
Cool.
but we can wrap up the episode
That's
now.
fine.
All right, so I'll just kind of lead us in with, you got anything else? That's
Go
what I
for it.
usually do. All right, Jer, you got anything else?
No, man. Action-packed episode, action-packed series coming up. We had live news that's
Crazy.
coming out delayed for you, but live for us. We had pop-ins. We had a Kono debate. This was a full episode.
It's a good one. One of our best of the season, I'd say. One of our best.
I don't know. They feel great to me, all of them. They're all gems. They're all Konos.
They're all Konos. You hear that, guys? He's coming around. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back on Thursday to recap the Brave series and preview what's coming up next for our Mets.
I won't be in studio, but let's go Mets.
Ditching me. Go buy a Shea Station mug. On your shirt.